Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today I am going to be doing a vlog that I'm so excited about because I'm going to be reading recommendations from 3 of my favorite booktubers here on Booktube. I love these women. I get so many of my recommendations to read from YouTube and I have a huge group of favorite booktubers, so I am incredibly excited to be reading some recommendations from them. So the 3 YouTubers that I'm going to be including in this video are Jess from Peace Love Books, Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl, and Avery from Ava's Romance Books, I think is her channel. I always get confused because she changed her channel name and I always am like, I don't know. Ava's Romance Books is what her channel is called. They will be linked down below, but I'm really excited about this. I have 1 book to read from each of them, and these are books that I originally heard about from their channels when they talked about it. They were the ones that really talked about it and convinced me to want to read them. And they are ones that they have recommended in videos that I want to read. So for Jess's book, I'm going to be reading Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. I have had this on my TBR for so long since Jess first talked about it, and I'm finally ready to read it. And then for Avery, I'm going to be reading a alien romance that she recently recommended in our Romance Booktube live show that she happened to be talking about, and it is called When She's Lonely by Ruby Dixon. It's an alien and disability representation romance, so of course perfect for Avery. And then for Cheyenne, I will be reading Sicko by Amo Jones. Cheyenne adores Amo Jones. She talks about her a lot. She's one of her favorite authors and I've never read a book by her. And Cheyenne has told me that Sicko is a good place to start. So I'm super excited to read all 3 of those books. I don't know much about all the books. I only know like highlights of each of the books because I don't really read synopsises. I just hear what other people say about the book. So Sea of Ruin is a pirate historical. When She's Lonely is an alien romance with disability rep. And Sicko, I think, is a stepbrother romance, which I've never read before. So I'm excited, also a little bit nervous about going into it, but I'm excited. So I haven't started any of them yet, but I will let you know when I do, and I hope that I love them. Hey friends, so I'm sorry about this terrible lighting and angle and everything, but I wanted to update you because I am 5 hours into the audiobook for Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin, and I'm really enjoying it. I literally had no idea what this was about. I just knew that so many people liked it, and the only thing I knew about it was that it had 2 possible love interests, so that it was like sort of love triangle-y, but that it wasn't exactly a love triangle, and that it was pirate themed. That was the only thing that I knew about it going into it, and I am really liking it so far. It is definitely very dark, but it's very intriguing. It's already really dark and I'm only 5 hours into the audiobook, like not even halfway through. The heroine's name is Bennett, and she is the daughter of a pirate who it was like very like world notorious, and she's like the bastard daughter. Her grandfather was an earl, so her mother was like highborn, but then was kind of like cast off when she had a daughter without being married. And then it like fasts forward a couple of years later. So like in the beginning, the first like 2 or 3 chapters are like her experiences as a child, and then it fasts forward to her as an adult. And she is the captain of a pirate ship, and she is married to a guy named Priest, but he cheated on her a while ago, and so she like ran away from him 2 years ago, and he's been trying to track her down this whole time, and he has finally tracked her down, and then she like locked him in the brig of her ship, but he also stole her father's compass, which had the hidden map to her father's treasure that she's been trying to locate since her father died. And she's now lost the compass. He took it and she can't find it anymore, and he won't tell her where it is. And then she gets kidnapped by a pirate hunter named Ashley. And that's what's happened so far. So I'm incredibly intrigued, but again, everyone was very right. It is very dark. The amount of like sexual assault and like rape and attempted rape, actual rape and attempted rape, and like abuse that Bennett has already suffered in this book is intense. So just make sure that you're aware of that going in. But the story itself is super intriguing, and I have been very much like not wanting to put it down and just keep going. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm just gonna keep going. Hey friends, so it is the next morning, and I wanted to let you know that I finished Sea of Ruin. Oh my gosh, I really liked it. I don't know what to rate it. It's one of those ones where it's like, I don't want to go with like what my gut instinct is telling me, because I need to just like think on it, and I'll come back and tell you at the end after I've read all the books what I think I'm gonna rate it. Or what I like finally decided to rate it. There's a hair in my face. But I really liked it. It was dark. And I knew that going in, and that was fine. And there was one particular scene that I remember Jess talking about back when she read it, between the hero and Bennett, or between Ashley, the pirate hunter, and Bennett, who's the main heroine. And I knew that there was like a non-consensual type scene between those two. So I was like prepared for it and everything. And I think that really helped. Knowing that was in there really helped me be not okay with it, but like not like disgusted and like freaking out and like not wanting to read the book or anything anymore kind of thing. Is that I knew it was there, and I knew I was prepared and I was ready for it. And I think that the way that they made him apologize and the way that it opened up his character, I don't want to say like I understand why it was there, but also like I get what Pam Godwin was trying to do as an author by having that type of scene in there, and like what it exposed about both the heroine and Ashley. So I will say that I was not expecting the intricacies of the relationship to be what it was. Like, I don't know if this is a spoiler because I didn't know going in. So I don't know if it's a spoiler. It's not in the synopsis, but I had no idea that this was a poly relationship. Like, I had no idea going into this book that's what was going to happen. So I was not expecting that whatsoever. I was expecting it to be more of like a love triangle, because that's what I had heard about it. I had heard people, I think I said this in the last clip, but I had like heard people say it's like a love triangle, but not a love triangle. So I was sort of expecting more of a love triangle dynamic, and that's not what it was at all. And I was pleasantly surprised by that, how deep and involved and more complicated the relationship was. And it was much more, there was a lot more to it than I was originally expecting to go in there and see. So I really did like how in-depth the relationship got, and how complicated it was, and how they had to like all three of them work it out. I do sort of wish that it was like multi-perspective, because you only get Bennett's perspective, and for a lot of it you don't see Priest at all. And then for a lot of it I like really wanted to see inside Ashley's head. So I like wanted to know what he was thinking, because I guess I'm just so used to having multi-perspective books. I haven't read like a single perspective book in a really long time. So it was really interesting and like frustrating almost to only be in Bennett's head and not know what what Ashley was thinking or what was going on with Priest for so long of the book. But I think that it led up to the reveal of Priest and Bennett knowing each other a lot better. I did guess that sort of thing. I think it was kind of obvious that that's what was going to happen. Once I picked up on the little clues, it became sort of obvious to me. But having not expected to have that poly relationship, I was expecting more of a fallout when when Priest finally like came back into the picture. But overall, it was fantastic. It was incredibly well done. Pam Godwin writes so well. I really like her writing style and how in-depth and like descriptive that she was. It felt like such a long book. Like the audiobook I think the audiobook was like 15 hours, which is, it's a long book, but I've definitely listened to longer, but for some reason this book felt like a lot longer. So I was like, felt like it should be coming to a close, and then there was so much left, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do with this? And then they did. Her plots were crazy and so interesting, and I love the way that like you kept thinking like, okay, everything's going to be all right now. Like you're going to get the HEA, you're going to get the HEA, and then something entirely different would happen and like blow that all out of the water. And they had to struggle and it was such a challenging book for Bennett. Bennett is such a strong heroine, and she goes through so much in this book. And I think that she comes out the other end even more badass and strong and willing to and understand what she's capable of than she was in the beginning, where she almost was like in the beginning, she was definitely like a badass, but she was almost like had this big ego of I could do anything. And I feel like as she started to and kept having to deal with some of the like worst situations that a person can go through, that a woman can go through, she realized how much more she was actually capable of, and how there was even a scene during her capture where she was like, a normal person would have given up at this point, and it's just not in my nature. And I thought that was, it just showed how ridiculously strong that Bennett was, that any other person would have given up and just like accepted their death at that point. But she never she never gave up her own strength, and she never lost hope that Priest or Ashley would come and get her, and that they would be there to get her out of that situation if she couldn't do it herself. And I think that like seeding of, I'm not less strong as a pirate captain, as a person, if I need somebody to help me. And I really liked that. So overall, really, really amazing. I thought it was so well done, and I definitely am going to read more from Pam Godwin now, because I really liked her writing style and how in-depth and challenging and intricate this book was. So a really, really great recommendation. Thank you, Jess. It's taken me ages to read this. Like Jess read this, 2 years ago now? And I put it like on my TBR when she first talked about it, because Jess was the first person that I ever heard talk about it. And I put it on my TBR that long ago, and I'm sort of glad that I hadn't gotten around to it until now, because I feel like I needed to have experienced other dark romances in order to be like prepared for this one. I think that if I had gone into this and this had been like my first dark romance, that I might have been a little bit more, I wouldn't have appreciated it as much as I did, I guess. I had reacted in my own way to other dark romances that have some of the same experiences that happen in this one. So I feel like it's like a progress, and that I feel like if I had jumped right into the deep end of like a really, really dark romance before I had like built myself up to it, I know myself and I would have like never wanted to read them again. So I feel like I was prepared to read this, and I think that that's part of the reason why I liked it so much, is that like I wasn't shocked by the dark aspects of it. I had like mentally prepared. So that is it for this book. This is a really long clip. But I will be reading the other two books. I'm starting one today. I will be reading the Ruby Dixon book that from Avery's recommendation on ebook. That is I think it's like 150 pages or something, so it shouldn't take me very long to read that one. And then I am going to buy the audiobook for Sicko. So I have to do that because I haven't bought it yet, but I'm going to do that now, and I will let you know when I start and know something about Sicko, because literally the only thing I know is that it's a step-sibling romance, which I have never read before, so should be an experience. Hey friends, so I hope that you don't fall, or I'm sorry if it's shaky because you're like balanced on a pillow, but I wanted to update you, even though I have not read that much, because I am literally only one chapter into When She's Lonely by Ruby Dixon. I'm on page 9 and I am already liking this book. This one is an alien romance. When I was choosing a recommendation from Avery, there are two things that I think of whenever I think of book recommendations and Avery, and that is alien romance and disability representation, and this book has both of those things. It's a Ruby Dixon alien romance where the heroine is hard of hearing, and she's on this planet, and on this planet you're not allowed to be disabled. You're not allowed to be imperfect, I guess. And there's even like a quote in the first chapter that I highlighted that says, "I've been told that a flawed slave is a dead slave, so I don't say shit about my hearing problems right now." And I just, the heroine in this, whose name I didn't even register, Ashley, she is very hard of hearing, and she is in this first chapter just basically describing her experience of being hard of hearing. And I personally am not hard of hearing, but my mom is. She has about a 50% hearing loss in both of her ears, and so I've grown up always being aware of that, and like I have I've as a even as a kid would go places with my mom and like have to translate for her because people would turn away when they talked, or would mumble, or would just not speak as clearly. And I've learned to speak both project and loudly, and also clearly, because loudness is not the only. My mom has repeatedly told me that like yelling doesn't make anything better. It's the clarity, it's the pronunciation and enunciation of the words that you say that allows her to understand it more. And so like even going to the grocery store is difficult for her, because the cashier will ask her a question or say something to her and she'll have no idea what they say and have to ask them to repeat it or multiple times, and it can just get uncomfortable and awkward and just like hard. So like things that the average person would just find tedious, or my mom is like would be terrified at, for example, going to the DMV, and with the pandemic, people were wearing masks, and that was like 10 times worse for her. So when I wasn't able to like go places with her during the pandemic because of wouldn't have been allowed in, or like she had an appointment, so she was the only one allowed in, she had to like navigate for herself, and it was just incredibly difficult. And so I can connect from that experience, from my own experience of helping and dealing with my mom, can connect to this heroine, and her, just like the way that she talks reminds me of exact things that my mom has said to me and talked about, and just pretending to understand because it's easier than having to have somebody explain it to you for a fifth or sixth time because you didn't hear all of it, or just having to like hope that you can figure it out on your own, and just go with it. And it says and the heroine on this planet is struggling even more because the aliens on this planet have accents, and they are like, she describes them as frog like, and so she can't even read their lips because the way that their mouths are, she can't even read their lips. So it's just very hard, and it hits close to home because I've seen my mom experience things like that. So I'm going to keep reading, and this book is only 120 pages, so I probably actually might even finish it tonight. It's only 10:30, and I will keep updating you as I go, for how I'm enjoying it, because I really don't know anything about the romance. All I knew going into it was that it was alien and that the heroine was hard of hearing. So I'll let you know what I find out. Alrighty, so I just finished When She's Lonely by Ruby Dixon, and I'm gonna tell you about it. So first, I thought it was adorable. It was very, very cute, really well done. I liked that even though the part even though I really liked the fact that the heroine was hard of hearing, I really appreciated the fact that that wasn't her only character trait, and two, that that wasn't like the main issue of the plot. There was more to their relationship than just her being hard of hearing and hiding it. So like this the heroine is a human who was kidnapped from her planet a long time ago, and has been now sold to different aliens over the years, and has now ended up on this planet where she is no longer property and is kind of just she's a colonist on this planet, and that a lot of other humans live there, and it's like a far off corner type planet that's really small. And some humans are, and she's a refugee basically. And the other humans there are also refugees. And the hero is what they call what did they call it? A custodian. They called it a custodian, where he's sort of like the police. He's like um he's in charge of making sure that the colonists, the humans, the refugees are all right, are being helped if they need any help. And he basically thinks that the heroine is an idiot. He just thinks that because she keeps kind of screwing things up, and he just thinks she's dumb, because she sort of acts dumb. She like on purpose. She like doesn't want people to know that she's hard of hearing because she doesn't trust the aliens on the planet, because for all the years that since she's been kidnapped from Earth, she has known that slaves who are flawed get killed. And now she just can't lose that mentality. So even though she's in a place now where she's no longer a slave and that it shouldn't be an issue, she doesn't trust it. But the heroine and the hero end up developing this really, really sweet friendship. And then it ends up being like a friends to lovers story. And I thought it was really well done. Every time I read a Ruby Dixon book, I always am like, I should read more Ruby Dixon because she really is a very talented writer. I can see her experience and her like dedication when she writes. And you can tell in her stories that even in this 120 page story, it was fleshed out characters. It was an actual like full plot. It was more than just it was a lot it had a lot more depth to it than just like a basic novella, which I really appreciate because I also just think she's a talented writer in general. Like the way I highlighted a whole bunch of things in my on the Kindle book because I was just connecting so much to the characters and I really loved the way that she did the friends to lovers interactions and like just it was impressive. So I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I liked it. The only thing I didn't like about it was the epilogue. I don't like epilogues in general, so that just makes sense for me. Still very much enjoyed the book. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I thought it was adorable, a great friends to lovers. And I thank you, Avery, for your recommendation. So now the only book that I have left for this vlog is Sicko by Elmo Jones. I bought the audiobook today and I will read it tomorrow. So I guess I should go to sleep because it's quite late now. It's like 12:30. So good night. I will see you in the morning with hopefully a update that I've read part of Sicko. Okay, so I am back. Good morning. It's the next morning and I have my cat here with me. The lighting is terrible in this. I'm so sorry about that. I'll move closer. So I have started Sicko, and I am intrigued. So I thought that they were step siblings. They're actually foster siblings or like they're adopted siblings also. And I was thinking that they came into each other's life like later so that they were already like teenagers so that they didn't grow up together. I was wrong. She was adopted at like a baby. So they fully like grew up together, which just makes it all so much more taboo in my mind. I don't know why. But I am intrigued. I am 9 chapters in and the book starts with them being young. They're like, I think she said she's like 15 or 16, something like that. And he, I think, is 4 years older than her. Can you not? My cat's bothering me. I think he's like 4 years older than her and they are like really close, like unnaturally close. And she, they're at a party one day and he gets into like a really big fight and he gets injured. And she freaks out and at the hospital and everything, she like won't leave his side and she's freaking out and everything. And then once he's better, he leaves and like doesn't tell anyone he's leaving. He doesn't tell his parents that he's leaving. He doesn't tell her that he's leaving and he just leaves. And so now it's like multiple years later and he has come back home and she's seeing him again for the first time in 4 years. And that's where I am right now in the book. But it is really interesting. I am really into the writing so far. You can see my cat. I'm really into the writing so far. The descriptiveness, there's cat hair everywhere, I'm so sorry. It's very descriptive and it's very, you can tell already like that like they have this connection and it's very like obvious and I'm so like interested in the fact how their like friends feel about it because the hero, whose name is Royce, he has like these 3 really close friends and I'm really intrigued to see what they think about it because even like to me as a reader it's like super obvious that he likes her, that he is possessive of her, and it's not in a brotherly way, it's in a jealous way. Now she's meowing. And I just would love to hear what they think. And so far, most of it has been in the heroine's point of view. And the heroine's name, I am so bad with names. My cat just bumped into the camera. I'm so bad with names that like I'm literally reading this right now and I can't tell you what the heroine's name is, but they call her Duchess. The hero calls her Duchess. But we did get one or two really short chapters that were in his perspective. So I'm really hoping that we get more, and we get more into his head, because I would love to see what he's actually thinking. So like I was saying when I was talking about Sea of Ruin, I really prefer to read books when they're in multiple perspectives, and by multiple I mean however many love interests there are. I like having a viewpoint into both of their heads and what they're thinking, and you just get more of a like wider, well-rounded, I think, story that way, because you're knowing what's going on in both of their, you don't have to like think about guessing and wondering what's going on. So I really hope that we get more into his head, because I'm so intrigued into what he thinks, and I am really enjoying this, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out and how it goes with, because I'm already rooting for them to be together, and I've only read 8 chapters, so I will keep you updated and we will keep going and see how it goes. Royce is in a motorcycle club. I love a motorcycle club. Yes. Thank you, Cheyenne. This is going so well so far. Hey guys, so I am about halfway through Sicko now, and I'm still really liking it. It's a little bit confusing with how much is like going on. The heroine has this like super abusive boyfriend that she's trying to like keep it a secret from everyone, and the hero, her foster brother, is back in her life now. She doesn't want him to be, but he has like returned now that she's gone to college in LA, where his motorcycle club is, and he's vice president of this motorcycle club, so he's like deep in the motorcycle club. And it seems like they've got like some shady illegal activity going on, like as a motorcycle club does. I'm thinking drugs, because like that's usually what the motorcycle clubs do. And I think that his dad is involved, but I'm not really sure how the dad's involved. Anyway, the heroine is like trying really hard to like keep this abusive boyfriend that she has secret from everyone. And now that the hero, Royce, is back in her life, it's getting a lot harder, because he's like super ridiculously overprotective, like seriously protective. And so he's like, I want to have one of the members of the motorcycle club watch you like at all times, like whenever you aren't with me, somebody's going to be watching you. And she's like, fuck that, no way. There's this side character who's in the motorcycle club who seems like he's like best friends with the hero, but he doesn't talk much, and his name is Wicked, and I'm super intrigued by him. Like, I want to know more about him. He doesn't talk much. He like has said maybe like one thing this whole thing, and one of the girls who is associated with the motorcycle club said that he doesn't talk. But he's intriguing. Like, the way that they describe him, and like I think that he is going to be important just from the way they talk about him. And the hero also said that Wicked lives with him. So he's got to be important. But I am still really liking it. It's definitely dark. But I like it, and I'm having a good time. I am hoping to get pretty close to finishing tonight. I also have to edit a video to go up tomorrow, and I haven't done that yet, and I've been putting it off because I don't feel like it. But I'll get it done. It'll be fine. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going, and I will give you another update when I get closer to the end. Alright guys, I finished Sicko, and I was not expecting that ending. It really got to me. Like, I had my like own predictions and everything about what was going to happen, and I was wrong. Like, I was wrong. It totally went in a different direction than I was thinking. One of the people, like, I don't want to do any spoilers or anything, but one of the people who I thought was suspicious, I was right to be suspicious about him, but I was wrong about why they were suspicious, you know? So it went in an entirely different direction than I thought it was going to, which I thought was really interesting, and I had an all-around really great time reading this. The hero is like aggressively protective, so if you're really into that like touch her and die vibes, this is a really good one for that, because holy crap is Royce like super overprotective and like very ownershipy of the heroine. Their relationship was really different, but throughout the book, like I found, like in the beginning I was definitely like weirded out about it, but I've also never read a step-sibling romance or anything like this, so the more that I went into the book, the more I continued reading, the more I was like, this works for this book, like I'm cool with this. You know, like you get more comfortable with it as you keep going, and you're like, yeah, that's just how this book is. So I had a really, really great time, and don't think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It's not quite 5 stars, you know what I mean? But I did really enjoy it. The only reason why it's not 5 stars is that I was a little confused with how much was going on. There was a lot of things happening, and I just have found myself going like back and forth a little bit about being, okay, what was that connected to this and who was that? So like I wasn't and there were certain things that I was like, I don't think that they needed to include that, because that was just made it extra and confusing, and like that wasn't necessary. But overall, I had a great time. I would recommend this, like I said, to anyone who loves the overprotective touch her and die vibes or anything like that. It is super dark though. It does have serious trigger warnings for rape, sex trafficking, deep, dark things like that. So obviously, if you're triggered by that, then I would avoid this one. But overall, a win. This reading vlog went really well. I think that my final rating for Sea of Ruin is going to be 4.5 stars. I'm docking half a star just because I don't think that the non-consensual scene between Ashley and the heroine Bennett needed to be in there. I think that the author could have come up with another way to get to what they needed to get between their relationship without having a non-consensual scene between love interests. So I don't ever think that's necessary, and I don't want to root for a hero who does something like that. So I don't think that that was necessary. So I'm going to dock half a star and give Sea of Ruin 4.5 stars. But yeah, very fun reading vlog. I had a great time. I already have plans to do another one for this like series. I'm gonna do them in groups of 3, so 3 more. I will have another vlog reading recs from 3 more of my favorites in the next couple of weeks. So I think I'm gonna do 2 or 3 more of them where I'm reading 3 booktubers at a time. So I'm super excited for those. I've already been thinking about what books I can read for those and what booktubers I want to include. So I will leave Jess, Avery, and Cheyenne's channels linked down below. They have amazing recommendations, so you should go follow them. And they are wonderful, wonderful women. But that is going to be it for this video, so thank you so much for watching. Please give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe and stick around so you can see more from me. But other than that, I hope you have a great day. Bye!